It's time. He comes in on Fridays. You know this guy from the Marina Times. You've seen him lurking around the Bay Area and Los Angeles. He goes back and forth. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it? For the amazing Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster, everybody.
Happy Popcorn Day, everybody. I mean, how appropriate. I'm coming in here talking about movies, and it's Popcorn Day. Yeah. You know, I like when you get those big tin barrels or aluminum barrels,
Sure.
and there's like candy corn,
Sure.
and there's cheese corn and regular old corn, and you could just sit there and corn yourself into a corn coma.
If you're joining us late, it is National Popcorn Day today.
Of course.
I never felt that popcorn needed a day. Just like I don't think you need a National Donut Day. I don't think you need like a National Chocolate Cake Day. You know, you need like National Old Dog at the Shelter Day. That's what, you know, those are the things that need days.
That's
in this
so sweet.
world.
You know, I'm lobbying for National Unpopped Popcorn Broken Tooth Visit Your Dentist Day because that's actually, you know.
That's a problem? Has it been a problem for you in the past?
It happens in the theater.
Do you get popcorn when you're a theater critic there sitting with the other theater critics?
Let me just say something, and I say it from the heart.
Okay.
The good studios and the good distributors give us a little chip or chit or ticket, chit, that enable us, they give us, and we are able to cash them in. Cash isn't the issue.
Right.
For popcorn and a drink.
It's like a voucher, so you can have the movie experience that many others would.
The good studios and the good distributors do that. You know who you are, bad studios and bad distributors. Anyway, It is National Popcorn Day. It's been a big week. I mean, after all that fuss about the Iowa caucus earlier this week, I only have one thing to say. Caucus. They don't even know us. Anyway.
Oh, my God, Michael. How dare you?
Mark, just so you know what a loyal listener I am and that I was tuned into the first hour today, I heard you guys discussing the Innocence Project.
Yes.
And I'm proud to announce that I was just named chairman of the Guilt Project. Our first case, Donald Trump.
Wow.
There's never been anything like this.
Very nice.
I know.
Very good.
So, you want to talk about movies?
Michael, are you out of your topical material now? Is that where we're moving?
My topical
Your little topical chunk? Thank you. Oh, yeah.
I try to make it callbacks.
Yes, I like it. You've shown that you've listened to the show. I think there's a lot that recommends it.
I'm part of the Mark Thompson family, and I want to say, Brother Mark, if I may, and it's early. It's not even February yet, but I hope that my drop, another classic Mark Thompson time waster, is included in this year's Mark's Madness.
Albert, let me ask you about that, just because Michael has mentioned this to me off the air. He's concerned that his...
Albert, thank you.
Classic, this is a classic Mark Thompson time waster drop will not make it because we don't really use it much.
The strength of schedule isn't too strong right now. We need to use it a little more so people get something.
Yeah, right now, Michael, it's not really in the rotation at all.
But this is a classic Mark Thompson time waster. Whenever Mark decides to do one of his Who Wants to Be a Millionaire gigs, this thing should be pulled out.
This is a classic Mark Thompson time waster.
Yeah, I don't know, Michael. Maybe I appreciate that you want to be in Mark's Madness, but I don't know if that's what you need.
This is a classic Mark Thompson time waster.
Hey, dude, it's no chit. I know that. All right.
Well, as long as you understand your place in the world.
This is a classic Mark Thompson time waster.
All right, Michael. We will take a meeting on it.
It is truly one of the lesser Liam Neeson impressions as well. All right, so let's talk about movies. And this is not a very, very big week. Again, it's January. It's the dead zone when it comes to releasing new films. Some prestige things that didn't get wide release in December when they were put out for awards consideration are coming out, and our first movie is one of those, although it didn't, it did get some acknowledgement, but I think it's worth checking out, and let's lead with it. Written and directed by Ava DuVernay, Origin is a docudrama based on the nonfiction bestseller Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson, which addresses the scourge of racism in the U.S., its source, its reasons, as an element of a caste system that's been in place since slavery days and before. And it's a powerful book, and this is a fascinating attempt to bring the book in some form to the screen. Origin is also about Origin, the movie, is also about Wilkerson's personal odyssey as she tries to overcome losses in her life and cope with the tragedy of Trayvon Martin's senseless murder by traveling to various crucial locations in the world, Delhi and Berlin in particular, and researching her theories for the book. And, caste systems are a major part of Indian society. In Berlin, it turns out that Jim Crow laws were underpinning some of the treatment of the Jews by the Nazis. They looked at those Jim Crow laws in the States as models for how they might deal with the population.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it's...
so, I'm sorry, this is a drama or this is a documentary?
It's a docudrama.
Okay.
And it's done by Ava DuVernay. It's based on the book, but it also incorporates elements of the author's life, which are, of course, addressed in the book as well. So she's researching her theories for the book and folding in those aspects of Wilkerson's life and her work. The movie is a thought-provoking drama of ideas and exploration. It can get a little dry now and then in its devotion to Wilkerson's thesis, and it is literally all over the map as she does all this traveling, but it carries you along on the protagonist's journey, and her dauntless pursuit of truth and understanding is ultimately so uplifting. And Ingenue Ellis Taylor as Isabel Wilkerson is so honest and passionate in her performance that you can't help but be moved. It counts as a bounce back, as far as I'm concerned, for DuVernay, who scored big with Selma, her 2014 biopic about Martin Luther King Jr., but missed the target big time with what was a highly anticipated 2018 adaptation of the well-loved fantasy novel A Wrinkle in Time, which was neither a critical nor commercial success. And I'm talking about the movie, not the book.
Ingenue is a dingler.
No, that's her
I'm
name.
sorry, Dauntless is a dingler.
No, yeah, Ingenue is her name.
Oh, then I will have to remove the ding.
Do you have like a reverse ding?
Oh, we don't, but it
My
will be
bad.
taken off.
I'm sorry.
It will be. Thank you. It will be taken
trigger.
off the board.
You're so quick on the trigger.
Several people though mentioned it. That's why I had to.
They didn't
it
know
sounds
that
good, says Gordon. You really like this.
It's like I'm referring to her as that Ingenue Ellis Taylor. No, her name is Ingenue.
I get it.
Ellis Taylor.
Scourge is a ding word, says Tom.
Sure. Well, despite the occasional heavy-handedness and the difficulty of creating a coherent picture out of Wilkerson's relationships, her travels and her scholarly insights, as a whole, it feels a little scattershot, but Origin finds DuVernay rediscovering her mojo. Ellis is wonderful, and she's complimented by a formidable cast, including John Bernthal as Wilkerson's loving and devoted husband, a white man, by the way, as well as Vera Farmiga, Audra McDonald, Niecy Nash Betts, Nick Offerman, Connie Nielsen, and Blair Underwood in significant supporting roles. That is some serious acting power unleashed in the service of what I think is an important movie, and it's almost
and a good movie.
It's good, yeah. It goes in so many different directions. It's hard to follow her sensibility, what she meant in terms of the filmmaking, but ultimately it just felt like something that it wasn't like the castor oil situation where you take something, it's good for you.
No, that's why I make the point. It's not just an important movie. I think it's an important movie, but it's a good movie too. It's a good watch.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just to ask you as a kind of last question,
sure.
Your note would be, I wish there was more coherence to the direction.
There is so much that she tries to do here in terms of telling Wilkerson's personal story. I suppose the book does that. I've not read the book.
I'm sure the book does that.
Yeah, and pulls it all together. So on the screen,
you just can't do that on screen.
Not to the extent that you can do it on a book, where you can kind of ruminate as you read. You can stop, you can go back. Anyway,
what's next?
Yes, that's in theaters, just so's you know. Okay. Next on the docket, well, it's January, and because it's January, I didn't expect much from an unheralded science fiction flick, but damned if I.S.S. isn't a pretty solid thriller.
Wow.
Set in a claustrophobic environment, that of the International Space Station, where détente, in the form of a 6-person crew, 3 Americans and 3 Russians, reigns over all. So the sextet are there to work together for scientific advancement. until something really bad happens thousands of miles below the
I
surface
love
of
this
the earth.
sextet. You're right, isn't it?
Really,
wow.
numerical description. Oh, okay.
I'm
Anyway,
loving this.
down on Earth, bad things start happening, and the 2 ground control stations, one for each country, send orders to their citizens in orbit to each take control of the ISS.
Oh my God! I love this concept.
In some ways, it reflects what's been happening
Sure.
internationally between Russia and America, who have done this.
I've always wondered how they get along up there, given all of the strife that between the 2 countries.
I got one word for you: vodka. No, I don't know. Interstellar vodka. So Ariana DeBose, Oscar winner for Spielberg's West Side Story remake.
Yeah.
Chris Messina, a pretty wonderful actor, and John Gallagher Jr., also a good actor, like kind of character actors, but Messina has a little bit of the lead to him. They play the U.S. contingent, and they're probably the most recognizable performers here. But the trio playing the Ruskies acquit themselves admirably. You may have a good idea where this is going, by the way.
Now, do they speak Russian, or is everybody speaking English?
English and Russian, back and forth. And the
so it feels very authentic.
The language barrier, to some extent, becomes an issue because not every one of the Americans understands Russian perfectly.
I can't wait to see this.
Not every one of the Russians understands American. But maybe that's a red herring.
This is really great. Where can I see this? I need to see this right now. I can't even listen to the rest of your segment.
No, it's in theaters, and it's not a great movie. It's just really fun, good, and I think you'll be terribly entertained by it. And remember, you've got DeBose is a wonderful actress, and even if you know where it's going, getting there is tense fun, and the special effects in the expectedly claustrophobic confines of the space station, looking out the ISS window down to Earth where something bad is happening, and during any extravehicular activity are definitely up to snuff. And the direction by Gabriella Cowperthwaite enlivens Nick Schaefer's okay script. If there's anything that's to be chided, it's like the script is not great, but it's pretty solid.
Great concept. Chided is a ding word.
You may buy into I.S.S. because of the cast and their commitment to the premise and the predicament the characters face. I was entertained, and it's in theaters, and this is the sort of thing I think that you're going to want to wait for, and then one weekend night, you and Courtney will kick back and watch this thing.
I'm excited. Well,
don't go berserk. All right, now let's get to a third and final movie for today, and it's the kind of movie you roll your eyes at me covering because it's made by foreigners, and I know you want to buy American.
I'm an American. Mark. I want something with subtitles and guns. That's what America's about.
Without subtitles and lots of guns. Well, this has subtitles and guns, so I don't know. We're halfway there. So we'll return to docudrama.
Yeah, without subtitles, exactly.
Or historical drama, to be more precise. The Settlers is a potent and revelatory movie about genocidal activities in the country of Chile at the start of the 20th century when wealthy aristocrats were methodically trying to exterminate the indigenous people and gobble up all of their land and resources.
Wow. So it's like Killers of the Flower Moon
in its way. They are sister films, I think, in terms of their stories and what their protagonists are up to. So our entree into the situation is an expedition by a maverick British Army officer, an American mercenary, and a native Chilean who is an ace marksman. So this trio are hired by a rich, well-connected landowner who wants to keep control of his massive acres of property, which means getting rid of the locals by any means necessary. So The Settlers is a beautifully shot and disturbing film that addresses issues that we continue to confront today in various corners of the globe and in our backyard as well.
Sure.
Although it has the feel of a Western, these guys are on horseback trotting around the Chilean countryside. Its takedown of colonialism, European racism, and unbridled capitalism give it deeper dimensions than a simple horse opera. So The Settlers is an impressive directorial debut by the movie's co-screenwriter, Felipe Galvez Haberle. For those of you who need to know, Mark, It's in English, and with the aid of subtitles on screen, it's also in Spanish and the language of the indigenous people.
Well, puedo hablar español entonces. No va a haber problema. There's not going to be a problem with me.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
I actually can't. I can speak it, but I really can't understand it very well. It's my issue.
It's in select theaters.
I'm really looking forward to it, though, and it's true. I think it was pointed out in the chat. I just glanced at it that this is a story from all around the world. I mean, essentially the colonialization of various places all over the world was going on since the beginning of time. Here it is. I think it's Maud who said this. Yeah. Well, kind of like all over the planet, one horror story at a time. I think that's exactly right. I mean,
and right now it's playing out so publicly in the Middle East,
sure,
particularly the Israeli-Hamas conflict.
Absolutely right.
And
but I've just come back from, in fact, Chile. I mean, why this is I think interesting and probably painful look that why do they speak Spanish all over Latin America? Because the Spanish went there and they took over.
Spain colonized them.
Yeah, that's why they speak Spanish. And
so
no
again,
other reason.
It covers those issues. It's very beautiful to look at, and also very troubling because of the story that seems never ending.
Wait, is it in theaters or where is it?
It is in select theaters.
Again,
all three of these movies are going to be good for home viewing. It's not all that necessary to see them on the big screen, unless we're talking that big LED screen you have in your den, Mark.
I want to ask you quickly, as we run out of time, about one TV offering.
Oh, I have a plethora of them that we will zip through.
Plethora is great, but we just in case we don't zip through everything, I'd wonder about Monsieur Spade.
We previewed it last week.
Okay, can you preview it a little bit more for me?
I will absolutely preview a little more of it.
Tell everybody again. That's Clive Owen.
Now, Monsieur Spade is on AMC and AMC Plus, and they're going to dribble it out episode by episode, I guess on Sundays maybe, and it stars the fine British actor Clive Owen as Detective Sam Spade, the hero of Dashiell Hammett's novels set in our beautiful San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And in this extrapolation of his story, Sam Spade, played by Owen, has hit 60, and he decides to move to the south of France. And once he gets there, obviously, a man of his reputation and repute will find himself in circumstances that require his brawn, his brain, his skill.
Special set of skills.
A special set of skills that Sam Spade, even at 60, has. Right. And in this case, there are mysteries to uncover, and it's shot in fine location form. So you're in France with Sam Spade, and the locals are not that wild about a guy of his nature. And what's really interesting about the story is that he finds himself a landowner by marriage, and he becomes a part of the community, like it or not. And when trouble comes a-calling, Sam Spade is caught in the middle of it. I really enjoyed it a lot.
All right.
Episode 1, it drew me in. If you like that sort of thing, the contemporary equivalent of Dashiell Hammett on some level is the great author Harlan Coben, who has become a little industry of himself.
Sure.
His movie, his book, Tell No One, was made into a terrific French movie. I highly recommend seeking out Tell No One, the French film, based on Harlan Coben's novels. But he's also converted a bunch of his novels into episodic TV miniseries. So Stay Close and Shelter and The Stranger, all of which have been on Netflix, are must-watches. And so is his latest, which is available right now on Netflix, Fool Me Once. And the premise is a very attractive woman who was a member of the British military and stationed in Afghanistan, is also a mother and a wife. Her sister dies, and she comes home to deal with it. And in front of her very eyes, her husband is shot. And we seem to be starting out with this massive tragedy. And the question is, who killed the husband? And is it related to the sister's death as well? This stuff is
Wow.
really engaging from the get-go.
Michael likes Fool Me Once.
Masterful story guy has come up with another really great series. And his production company has a deal with Netflix, and it's fine because the work has been great.
Yeah, the Harlan Coben stuff is really, really good.
Criminal Record on Apple TV is also a recommendation. With Slow Horses on hiatus until its 4th season, I am on board a new UK police procedural mystery set in London with the great Peter Capaldi, who was the doctor on Doctor Who, or one of them, who is the star of the hilarious political satire The Thick of It, and is in fine form here as a veteran detective with a few secrets that may very well be exposed by a crusading, young, up-and-coming detective on the force, played by Cush Jumbo, who is familiar to American audiences for The Good Wife and The Good Fight. And she is currently, Doctor Who fan, she's currently playing Lady Macbeth opposite David Tennant, one of the big Doctor Who stars, who's playing Macbeth on the West End in London right now.
Look at you at the West End update.
Yeah, got to do it. Anyway, Criminal Record is, I guess, just aired its 3rd episode via Apple TV, and I am hooked. And
I'm loving it, Michael.
I want to throw in one more.
Well, we're really running late. I love it, though. Go for it.
Okay, we have a minute. Ted, a prequel to the Ted movies.
Don't tell me when we have a minute.
Ted is on Hulu.
Most of this show.
Hey, come on, I'm watching the clock.
Ted is...
So the Ted movies were about the relationship between Seth
foul-mouthed,
MacFarlane's foul-mouthed, drug-abusing Boston area teddy bear come to life and the boy who wished him into existence. And Mark...
They're promoting the hell out of this. You like it?
Yeah, the series is much better than the sequel, Ted 2, but... Mark Wahlberg plays this character, John Bennett, in the original movie, and he's obviously a grown man, and he's with this teddy bear who he's got almost a lifelong relationship with. This is the prequel with Max Burkholder as the teenage version of Wahlberg's character, Scott Grimes and Alana Ubach as John's loudish dad and frazzled mom, and MacFarlane, of course, voicing Ted. It is occasionally lowbrow, like MacFarlane's animated sitcom stuff. In fact, you can hear echoes of Family Guy dad Peter Griffin in MacFarlane's Ted voice, but I laughed out loud a few times each episode. And I want to also point out that our longtime pal, the wonderfully incisive comedian, writer, and actor Dana Gould, is a creative consultant for the show, wrote at least one very funny episode and also appeared in it. So I'm on board with Ted.
You like Ted?
Yeah, I did.
And is it available for binging, or you have to watch it?
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
It's on. I thought it's Peacock.
No, it's on Hulu.
It says Peacock Event Series, January 11th.
It's on Peacock.
Yeah, thank you.
Isn't Peacock Hulu? Aren't they all together?
All right, so let's quickly talk about Ted. He loves it. He says there's some laugh out loud moments like Family Guy, a couple of cringe moments too, kind of lowbrow stuff, but he enjoys it. Monsieur Spade, having seen the first episode, he really likes this Clive Owen portrayal of Sam Spade, who's moved to the south of France, and he's drawn back in to something that he is uniquely, perhaps, equipped to handle. Criminal Record is the UK police procedural with Peter Capaldi, the veteran detective with secrets possibly exposed by Cush Jumbo. And Fool Me Once is on Netflix. Beautiful woman, her sister dies. She's drawn back to handle that, and then her husband is shot in front of her. Is it related to her sister's death? That, again, on Netflix. He liked all of those offerings for your streaming pleasure. Now to the big screen. The Settlers takes place in Chile, where wealthy aristocrats are trying to wipe out the native peoples. It's in Spanish with English subtitles, and some English, too, you said, right?
Yeah, English with no subtitles.
Oh, it's English with no subtitles?
Yeah, you won't need the subtitles when the English comes on.
But there is Spanish with subtitles also.
And for the indigenous language, too, which is not precisely Spanish, Mark.
Okay, no, I get it. Okay, thank you. Anyway, he likes The Settlers.
Yeah, I did.
I.S.S. It's the one I can't wait to see.
It's fun.
It's a fun sci-fi offering set in the space station.
A
with
thriller.
The Russians and the Americans, and then a conflict and tensions between the two countries, Russia and America. How do the people on board the International Space Station handle those tensions?
Vodka.
Ariana DeBose is in this one, and it is in theaters. And finally, Michael told us about Origin, the Ava DuVernay offering based on Casts, which is the book. And it's a docudrama. Michael liked it very much, thinks it's a good movie and also an important movie. It is in theaters. Wow. What a ride you've taken us on, Michael Snyder.
Well, and a lot of positive feedback by the Culture Blaster. I'm seldom this enthusiastic about things. And again,
there's never been anything like
I'm
this.
not over the
you
moon
haven't really,
not over the moon about those movies, but they're good.
Yeah.
Of kind.
Right. Well, I'm excited about it.
What can you tell us about the scene?
He's not over the moon, Larry, but he likes most of the offerings.
I am right now focused on one thing and one thing only.
The Niners.
5:30 tomorrow at Levi Stadium. The Niners take on the Green Bay
It's going
Packers.
to be wet. The Niners are favored by 9.5. That seems like a lot of points. But I've talked to people who go, no, Niners are going to blow them out. They've got a running game. They've got a lot of things that the Cowboys didn't have.
Right. As a matter of fact, Green Bay not particularly great against the run, and we have a run stopper back, the gentle mountain of a man, Eric Armstead. I'm glad to see him back on the line this coming Saturday evening.
I'm glad to see you back on the line. You can find him in the Marina Times and here on Fridays. He comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael Snyder, Culture Blaster.
Niners!
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.